Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to figure out little things here. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to figure out little things here. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to figure out little things here. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to figure out little things here. Please, anybody can please confirm if they can hear me loud and clear. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to.
I can hear you now, Taj.
Figure out little things here. Please, anybody can please confirm if they can hear me loud and clear. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to.
I can hear you now, Taj.
Figure out little things here. Please, anybody can please confirm if they can hear me loud and clear. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to.
I can hear you now, Taj.
Figure out little things here. Please, anybody can please confirm if they can hear me loud and clear. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting very shortly. Just give us a few more seconds to.
I can hear you now, Taj.
Figure out little things here. Please, anybody can please confirm if they can hear me loud and clear. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting. Can you hear me loud and clear? Is it crystal clear? Thank you. If you can please put in the chat, that'll be great. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. People will be logging in a little late, but that's okay. We're going to get cracking. First of all, I want to thank you, everybody, for joining us on Saturday afternoon. It's a beautiful day outside, but life must continue. We got to enjoy weather. Also, we need to empower ourselves every week, every month, every day with the knowledge so that we are able to make a decent living. Is anybody like to share something today quickly before we get cracking? Anybody like to share something? We're going to have quite a number of people here. We have 4 different guests today. And it should be very exciting, by the way. It should be a lot of excitement, a lot of brand new information. So some of you will love to, perhaps, anybody like to share anything right now? All right, I guess not. Moving forward. A little legal disclaimer from the Professional Reinsurance Group of Canada. Simple, that it's illegal to operate as a broker or real estate or security unless you're appropriate licensed. It may be illegal to charge a finder fee or charge a commission or referral fee unless you hold an appropriate license. It's legal, however, to buy a property and sell a property, it's also legal to assign a contract you obtain for the purchase of real property for a price. You may also charge a price for assigning your rights under an option to buy real estate. Caveat emptor, do your own due diligence. Please make sure you get advice from a real estate lawyer before you enter into any contract. Just thought I should share with you. I may have another disclaimer. Information and materials are provided for a general source of information only, while every measure has been taken to ensure the accuracy of the material. Opry Canada and its affiliate do not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of the material found on this site or the presentation today. It's not intended as investment, financial, legal, accounting, tax, or otherwise. Any information or materials which are provided or maintained by a third party which may be accessed throughout this meeting are provided as is. Opry Canada and its affiliate will not be responsible in any manner for direct, indirect, or special damages, howsoever caused or arising out of this information provided. Just a legal disclaimer by our lawyers. It's important to share it. I love to share this every time I get opportunity that not in hospital, not in jail, not in grave, take 5 seconds to say, thank you, Lord, for a beautiful day. Thank you, Lord, one more time for a beautiful day. We are blessed to be above the ground, happy, healthy, and extremely a lot of gratitude. One thing, here is my question for you, and I'd like to elaborate a little bit on it. What is number one reason you wake up in the morning? Please share your thought in the chat. What is the number one reason you wake up in the morning? Please put in the chat. Gratitude, thank you. Anybody else like to share? What is the number one reason you get up early in the morning? Just put anything in the chat box, please, if you like. There's a very important lesson I like to share with you, your life. Thank you. I'm expecting at least a few more things, please. While we are trying to get everybody in the meeting, at the same time, please share with us. What is the number one reason you wake up in the morning? For a new families, excellent. For a new day, families, excellent. Thank you, Beverly. One more, please. Get going. So much to do. Thank you, John Purchase. Gentleman from Ottawa. One more. If you want to change your mind, here is something I'd like to share with you. Same. Thank you, David. We got a gentleman, scholar, investor, mortgage agent, or realtor. Well, we are in for a little surprise today. Some major announcement later on today. All right, moving forward, here is something I'd like to share with you. Discover your ikigai is a Japanese concept that combines the item Iki means alive or life, or gai means benefit or worth. When combined, these terms mean that give you life worth, meaning a purpose. So what is ikigai? Ikigai is about finding a joy, fulfillment, and balance in the daily routine of life. What is in your love, your passion, what you're really good at it, what's your profession, what can you get paid for, your vocation. And there's a lot more goes into it than only one thing. What's the word need? What's your mission? What are you going to do and how are you going to contribute in this life though? To stay alive, fulfill my purpose in life. Thank you, Basil. Appreciate it, my friend. This is ikigai. Once you discover it, it's a very powerful tool, by the way. And that drive us to become a better human being, better person. And there's a place in Japan, and this is people where they live the longest and the healthiest because they have reason to get up, they contribute. It's not all about them, and they're a really beautiful reason for it. I'd like to share one more thing. I'm going to request all of you, if you can please take a picture of this slide. If you can take the picture of the slide, that will be helpful for you. Okay, I just want to check one thing. Just a little one thing quickly. Just want to make sure we're recording this meeting as well. So moving forward to the next slide, I'd like to share with you, discovering your Ikigai. Ikigai is all about finding your love, what you're really good at it, where the world needs it, and what you can get paid for it. Do you have that high income skill? Are you really good at it? Would you like to get paid for it? And the world needs it. There's need for it. Extremely important. Why we do that? Because by doing so, it is something you are contributing, showing a part of your gratitude. And it's pretty clear your purpose of life. If you like it, please let us know, put in the chat box. And every meeting, we will share something to get you cracking. So breaking news today, what is happening in the market of real estate? Why Toronto is #1 in the universe when it comes to appreciation of Canadian real estate. Why Toronto is #1 when it comes to detached houses. What is happening with Toronto? Why market is so hot? And what are the facts? So today I'd like to share some of the news, views, comments, give you a bit of an idea exactly where the market is going and what is happening in the market though. All right, here we go. So all the information we get, we try our very best to share the information from the sources which we believe are the most reliable, including the Canadian Banking Association, Canadian Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, Bank of Canada, Stat Canada, and a lot of government agencies. And some of the news we get are come from the News Bureau when these news are broken up, by the way. One thing I like to perhaps a little bit say right now before we go any further is tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning, Trudeau is going to announce elections for this year. I believe he wants to have it by September 20th. So if you have any opinion about it, let us know. It's something which can affect the real estate value. So here is something I'd like to share with you what is happening with Toronto. Toronto have taken spot #1 in the list of cities ranked by how much prime house prices have increased throughout the whole universe. Toronto is #1 at the appreciation of 27%. What does that mean? An average house in Toronto, including semi-detached houses, even a townhouse is about $1 million. And if your property has gone up by 27%, your property have made you about $270,000. How does that sound? $270,000 equity, appreciation. If you look at it, Vancouver is way behind at #9 at 16.6%. Even though every time we discuss, we always talk about Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, but Montreal is not on the list here though. Shanghai, and most of the countries are, again, North America. If you want to see our San Francisco, LA, they are competing. So is Vancouver. Moving forward, here is this thing. The top-down global city, the Toronto detached single-family home fit the definition and indeed the most expensive type of place you can buy if you can buy anything at all. So if you live in Toronto, consider yourself blessed, my friends. It is a blessing. It's definitely a blessing. Moving forward, so September 30th, this is something else. If you have a closing, a deal, or you may or may not be aware of it. This is the brand new holiday we're gonna have in Canada. This is gonna be about the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. A lot of lawyers, realtors, other people are now just kind of trying to figure it out, whether it's a closing date or anything else. It's gonna be a statutory holiday. And most of people are looking into it. In case you are doing a deal, please keep in mind, it may not gonna show as in your calendar because it just got announced in June under Bill C5. Just thought you know. So we're gonna have 2 holidays in September, by the way, 2 national holidays. So what is happening to Canada? Economy is start booming a little bit. Created about 94,000 jobs in July. Most of the jobs came in where? Ontario. And this is important for you to know that what is happening in the economy. Economy is going to definitely reflect the value of real estate. It's also going to reflect where we go further. Again, most of the jobs are created in accommodation and food services. People start kind of going out, start eating out. And this is add-on from the June. June, we created 231,000 jobs in Canada. It's good to know that economy is bouncing back and there are a lot more jobs available as we speak. It's great for us, good for real estate, great for economy, great for Canadians, by the way. Moving forward, Shark Tank. Some of you guys know this gentleman. He's a friend of ours. He's also flipping houses. Where does he flip houses? In Hidden Hills. Hidden Hill is the area where Kim Kardashian and Drake have properties. Bought the property for 14.6, sold it for 17.3. And he's also known as Mr. Nice Guy. I know of him. I met him several times. And little do you know, all these, whether it's a Shark Tank or whether they were the Dragon's Den, he is the star of both, fellow Canadian, amazing guy. Even those people also flip properties for profit. Just to let you know, apprenticeship is coming soon on September 25th, 26th, October 2nd and 3rd. If you got yourself a seat, excellent, congratulations. If you're not, please get yourself a seat ASAP. So here is the deal. How many of you love to buy a piece of property for $630 only? Not $1,000, only $630 only. Feel like saying 630,000. So this is a tax liens, those who are not familiar with it. This is the most lucrative business you can be involved in ever. And there is some television personality, a celebrity, and he has all his properties, or 2 of his 11 properties are listed, owned by Richard Hatch. I'm not sure if anybody watched of Newport or right. He's the television show Survivor. 2 of his property gets sold. Reason being simple, he did not pay his property taxes. All these properties which have been sold under the tax liens more or less have been sold for amount of property taxes owing only. If you have never ever have gotten an education about real estate, I would suggest you do. get yourself certain training. We provide the education and training. And of course, we provide coaching. But this is something. So 24 properties, the people did not pay the taxes for 6 years. So they have no redemption period whatsoever. Again, each province, the laws are different. If you are not investing or buying any property in tax liens, which could be somewhere from 90 to 97% discount, you should definitely look into it. It's a highly recommended, you should look into it. So this is the cheap part of Canada, and people say, oh, really? You'll be surprised to know how many people were bidding on a property on Maloney Street in Sydney. Can you buy something for $630 in Toronto? Can you even buy something for $630,000 in Toronto? Perhaps not. Let me just share with you what is available in Toronto. So how about getting a basement apartment for $500,000, only 600 square feet, located at 921 Adelaide Street West in the heart of Toronto. $500,000 for a basement apartment, about 600 square feet, but it does come with the parking, by the way. Is that pricey? Oh, yes, it is pricey, but again, it's a basement. It's not a condo, but it's a basement. And let me move you forward. How about this piece of property? This is becoming very common, by the way. This property is listed for approximately for about $5 million on 24 Trafford. Why did I bring it to your attention? This one have a Laneway House. A Laneway House can be rented out separately. The top picture is the picture of the house, and the bottom picture is the picture where most of the people have a garage. It's a garage, plus it has an accommodation, and you can rent it out to anybody you like. And this is something which is going to become extremely common for the future. The trend has continued. The cities start approving it. And some of these Laneway houses could cost you about $250,000 to build, but the rent can be $3,000-4,000. It is built exactly on top of the garage, but there got to be laneway at the back. Just to let you know, we have 350-kilometer laneway in Toronto, 350 kilometers. If you come across a deal where you can build a laneway house, hey, guess what? You almost hit the jackpot. But make sure you check with the city that it is possible. Next thing I'd like to share with you, this is something, a very rare opportunity for in case you want to be involved in a real estate auction. Most of the real estate auctions, you get the properties at half price or less. This property is listed for $4.4 million. And the minimum reserve is $2.6 million. The bidding is on August 26th. And whoever gonna be buying it have to pay 12% premium to the auctioneer. So this is about 6,800 square feet, 2.8 acres. It's a one of a kind, and each wall is huge. And is called, the link is at the bottom, by the way. And the beauty of this house is you can have 360-degree ocean view, by the way. It's something very beautiful and something very rare. And again, it's about 20 minutes away from Halifax. In case you want to know exactly how it works, please look into the more details as we go along. How about a rundown corner property lot in Toronto, only for $27 million? $27 million for 40 feet by 100 feet lot on Yonge Street. Here is a caution. It's registered as a heritage property. What are you going to do with it? It's only good for somebody who's a developer, possibly put a condo or office building, but they have to maintain the exterior. And this is only way it can be done. This is a lost corner there. They are touting as a lost intersection on a major street in the heart of downtown Toronto. So again, this is something we should be aware of it, that a 40 feet by 100 feet lot on Yonge Street at the corner, which can be developed into condo. So if they have to build condo, let's say 100 units, you know, the cost of the land is about $300,000 per door. So those condos have to be sold for $1 million or more for a builder to make some money. Again, the reason I bring it in for you from time to time, just to make you aware that what is available, what's your competition like, why the condos are going so expensive, and why Toronto is becoming very expensive here. Next thing I'd like to bring it down to you, this is a Teardown Bungalow. A Teardown Bungalow, the bungalow is in the top picture. This is going to build after, and they're looking for $1.8 million only. The property is located at 33 Elwood. The good thing is this one, that this property comes with the blueprints and building permits, and it's going to be in the Glenfield Park area. And just imagine somebody going to pay $1.8 million and making us spend maybe another $1.5 million. So it'll be about $3.3 or $3.5 million with the cost. And the similar houses in the neighborhood do sell for $3.5 to $4 million. Small house, but this is where we are coming up to. Toronto is going to remain, it's pretty hot. The values are gone extremely high, but that's what it is, and that's what it is. And you should have a bit of a pulse of the market if you are investing in Toronto. Anybody got opportunity to invest in single family homes? Anybody who has a single family home, a detached house, if you got it, keep it forever, if possible. All right, moving forward, these are 5 rundown properties for $12 million in the Cabbage Town, by the way. This is the street on Homewood. In case you're a developer, you want to do something on it, there's a possibility to demolish these 5 properties. I believe there are 2 more properties available as well, which are on a different price range. And that can be also added up. It's called land assembly. Very important for you to understand the land assembly. If each property have to be sold, they will not maybe sell for even $1 million, $1.5 million or so. But since they're combining 5 of them, they're asking for a premium because they have done more or less a land assembly for a builder or for a developer. So in case you come across a deal where you can put a couple of deals together, awesome. There are a couple of magical words in it, and some of you may be able to pick it up, but some of you may can perhaps hear it, but may not going to pay much attention to it. So there are a couple of magical words in this deal. $12 million sounds like a lot of money, but combining 5 properties together, that's a miracle. And that is the reason I bring it to you, because we have a lot of developers and builders who are the members of this club. This is something else. These are the areas in Toronto where people do not want to invest. Why is that? Why people don't want to invest in this area? They don't like parties. So this some of the areas. There are a couple of areas in Toronto where the property values, especially the condo values, have not gone up. This is the area of King West, Queen West, the Village, and the Distillery District. Why? Too much of a nightlife, too much of parties. As a matter of fact, the condo prices in this whole areas have not gone up. As a matter of fact, it has came down quite a bit, not quite a bit, but substantially compared to other areas. And the village got hit the highest, by the way, because people who are investing it, they want to make sure this is not too much of a party town. And party town means, guess what? Less prices. And there's a fairly decent inventory available. And now the condo prices have started shooting up again, except these 4 districts in Toronto. Moving forward, what are the 2 magical words? Please pay attention to this one. The 2 most magical words are, guess what? Land assembly, rezoning, developers alert, rezoning potential, new development opportunity, great for investors and developers. If you have bought any property in Toronto or Vancouver or even Montreal, and you're able to utilize this wording, you're giving an artificial appreciation from 50% to 300, 400%. You can buy a piece of property less than $1 million and you put a developer alert or rezoning potential, and you could be able to sell the same property same day for 1.5 to 3-4 million dollars, depending on the location. Now, this is very common in Vancouver market, also in certain areas of Toronto market, where people are demolishing older properties and putting a brand new modern houses, which are a lot more open, a lot more accessible. They're also putting a in-law suite. They're also putting a Laneway House or house in the garage. They are trying to utilize the maximum available land as the builders, as per the city allows them. So having said that, this is something else for district. This one I talked about earlier, the rundown properties. I also talked about the rundown property at Yonge, and this is another rundown property. This is another rundown property. So today, the focus was rundown properties, how we make the best out of rundown properties, what can be available, how we can be able to market them and take full advantage of it. This is a downtown Toronto. This is again property in Elwood, which is a Glenview Park area. And this one is in Cabbagetown. So these are the developer's dream. And this is amazing that what we are able to do with these type of properties though. And here's the 2 magical words. This is another one in the neighborhood which are being affected because too many parties and too much nightlife. And these are the magical words, please. If you got a opportunity, please take your camera and take a picture of these words. Please take a picture of this slide, if you like. Rezoning is very big. Land assembly is very big. That's what I showed you in the past. Developers alert, rezoning potential. A lot of builders and developers are having very difficult time finding an inventory. If you can find them an inventory, you can put a piece of property under a contract that can be flipped, that can be wholesale to a builder. So I hope you got a picture of this. I'm going to move forward with this thing. This is something else trending in Google, by the way. Should I buy a house? This is surging like crazy in Google. If you are marketing it, you're a realtor, you're a mortgage agent, you're a developer, this is your potential clients. And it's a huge. If you can write an article having a headline, Should I buy a house? Realtors, investors, please listen to this carefully. This is your key word. Should I buy a house? If you can write an article. Somebody just requested to take a picture. Okay, bear with me for a second, please. All right. So should I buy a house? I recommend, if you're a realtor, please write an article. Should I buy a house in Ottawa? Should I buy a house in Montreal? Should I buy a house anywhere in Toronto or Montreal, wherever you're from? You're going to get a lot of hits. You're going to get a lot of hits. So this is for marketing as well. I hope this will add up a lot of value for you. Moving forward, this is another clone I mentioned, again for auction, August 16th to 19th. Again, the reason I ask you about these auctions is a different type of market. They don't only sell humongous houses. They have all kinds of different properties, by the way. This is unreserved auction, meaning there's no minimum bids or reserve prices. This is done by Precision Auctions, by the way. Look into it, check it out. You will learn something sooner or later. In my opinion, a lot of things are going to be changing, and these changes could be dramatic, that most of us, maybe down the road, will be buying a lot of real estate through auction houses. I'm not saying that realtors will not be there. Realtors will be still there, but there's a different technique of marketing, exposing the properties to the international buyers, foreign buyers, all across Canada buyers. And auctions are becoming more and more lucrative because auctioneers can charge 10% fee on top of it, 10% more fees on it. Moving forward with this thing, this is again the pain. People want to move into smaller cities, don't want to live in bigger city, they can't afford it. What the companies are doing, hey, how about if we give you the down payment? How about give you $20,000 as a part of the down payment to work with us and stay with us? So this is one of the company, which is a consulting engineering firm that they have offering a benefit to people, first-time home buyers assistance program, to make sure that their staff doesn't leave. They are looking after them, and they have 4 locations: Toronto, Collingwood, Milton, and Bradford. And they are offering several different ways, scholarships and mentorship program to the employees, because for them to retain a good talent, good skilled people, and because the affordability factors affecting them, a lot of companies will be looking into it, because for them it's a tax write-off, and this is where they can have some sort of a commitment from their employees to stay with the same company. Moving forward, this is Ontario home buyers are putting approximately $140,000 down payment. Yeah, that's a lot of money, yes, but this is an average. And compared to BC, people are putting about $160,000 down payment, an average deal, by the way. Moving forward, plenty of room for housing prices to Canada to rise as interest rates stay low. This is our Bank of Canada governor. And this again, there are a couple of things which is happening with it. The shortage of supply, a rush to buy properties to take advantage of rising value, and compared to other return on the money. As I mentioned, Toronto average has gone by 27%. And people are still believing that there could be a higher value available. There will be much, much more appreciation based upon low interest rate, based upon the fact that there is low supply, low interest rate is going to fuel the fire, and there will be higher appreciation. Two reasons why Toronto market has gone crazy. That's why Toronto became number one of appreciation in the whole world. Low interest rate and low inventory. And there's one more reason, and that's my personal opinion. I believe the handouts. The people are getting a lot of money doing nothing at home and collecting $2,000-3,000 and all the subsidy and handouts available because of the pandemic. All right, moving forward. This is something else. Because of the low interest rate, and this may be a little bit outdated, but David Grossman is going to enlighten us about the current mortgage rates. This was a lowest recorded average for 5-year fixed mortgage by the company called ratehub.ca. But David Grossman is going to enlighten us today. What is the best rate available? If anybody's looking for, like, for example, if you're buying $1 million house, the interest for the whole year is $10,000. It means it's costing you about $800 a month to live with $1 million big time loan or mortgage on your house. That is also fueling up the trouble in the real estate. People are looking into $1 million house as if it's nothing. When we, in many years ago, we always have interest rate 12, 14, 15%. This is something recently, again, David Grossman is going to enlighten you as well, or you can speak to anybody. The CMHC, if you're applying for a brand new house or mortgage, they're practicing for loan insurance. The qualification have been brought to much lower than before, and they brought the credit score up to 600, and sort of a GDS ratio from 44 they have brought to 39%. Just thought I should let you know when you're applying for a mortgage though. This is something else we talk about it. Toronto has about 65,000 empty condo units. Why are they empty? The city of Toronto is planning to have some sort of vacant property taxes, which could be 1% of its value. It has been introduced to Vancouver, and they're still working with the details here though. Moving forward, Canadian labor market, job losses against job gains. As I mentioned to you, we gained about 230,000 jobs in June, and we gained about 96,000 jobs in July. So these are something which will affect the value of the real estate, by the way. Labor market is also a consideration if you're investing anywhere, because we have lost most of the jobs in, again, February and March. We also lost, these are the jobs lost in January and April, by the way. So here's my question for you. Just how are you turning your backyard and balcony into a dream oasis or sanctuary? What have you done? Can you please put in the chat? What have you done? People are spending more money in the backyard than the washroom and kitchens, especially in Canada. Would you like to share what you have done to your balcony or your backyard? What changes have you made? You're welcome to put it in the chat box. And I might be able to read it for you. Small swimming pool. All right, a pool. Excellent. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Vladimir, sir. Most of the people are turning the backyard 40 feet deck. Excellent. A deck, cooking, entertainment, flowers, garden, lighting, office. Pinterest has lots of great dream backyard ideas. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael Summer. Welcome back again, Michael. I hope you're feeling good. Finishing interior or gazebo with pine and electrical service. Excellent. People are turning their backyard into another office space. People are utilizing more backyard than ever before because of the lockdowns and so on. And same thing people are doing with their balconies, those who live in condos. People are cooking outside more often
David.
and so on.
David.
Please mute yourself. Thank you. All right, moving forward with this thing, let's move to why Toronto is number one to work from home. This is something we talked about last week as well. And that also affects values. People who are leaving Toronto, moving to smaller towns are coming back. What's happening there? A couple of things. Number one is the internet connection, the speed. And second thing is Toronto is known for internet speed, the capacity. And one more thing, LGBTQ community, gender equality, remote working, infrastructure, healthcare. And that's why a lot of entertainment, culture, booming business presence. These are the reasons why people live in Toronto. Those people are moving out, finding it difficult. I happen to know somebody moved into Edward County, Prince Edward County, came back to Toronto because they thought they can work and live there. It was okay for 30 days. After that, they have no place to go eat and do a lot of other things though. This thing, something, in case you want to know, what will take you to save or to buy a piece of property in Canada. In 1976, it used to take 5 years. And today's it takes about 14 years. And if you want to buy Ontario, 18 years, BC, 20 years, GTA, it will take 24 years of saving. And in Vancouver, it'll take 28 years of saving before you can buy a house. Yikes. And Brian asked you a question, why people would put the money in the backyard? Because backyards are, people are putting a lot more into it because there's nowhere to go. This is something I was discussed at last meeting as well. The Canadian school will start teaching come September. 14-year-olds are going to learn about mortgages and real estate business. By the way, I believe this is a right step, in my opinion. If you have a different opinion, please let us know in the chat. Thank you. Again, I discussed this one last meeting too. Who's helping the first-time home buyers? It is the Bank of Mom and Dad, known as BOMAD. Bank of Mom and Dad. I don't know why mom comes first, but I believe we respect that, but it's also good. Moving forward, Calgary home rises 65% in June. We did the last one. Here's a question for all of you. Other than real estate, where are you parking your investment money for excellent safe return? We will be discussing this during our break room. Will be more or less end of this presentation, end of this meeting, which will be about 3:30. No, I'm sorry, around 4 o'clock or so. So please make sure you stay in for the networking. Will be about 25 minutes, 30 minutes long. You'll be able to communicate, mingle with other people. If you're looking for money or you want to invest your capital, this will be an appropriate place for you to do so. Also, you can speak to the hard money lenders during this meeting. We have a few of them. They'll be more than happy to speak to you. So what is happening? They're expecting more people moving into Canada. We have another 20,000 people coming from Afghanistan. And there are about 350,000, we're expecting about about 1 million people, 1.2 million people next 3 years, which is also going to add up a little bit more. I shouldn't say the problem, but we're going to have, it's going to add more fuel in the real estate market, whether it's a rental market or whether it is people who want to buy it, because we are not able to build that fast, that quick though. This is very kind of sad. The majority of the Canadians, or half of the Canadians, are only $200 away from a bankruptcy. This is things already happening, but somehow the incentives, the handouts are still saving it. Once this pandemic is over, or when the headache is over, I feel that you are going to see a very different type of bankruptcy reports. It's very unfortunate, but I guess economy, when everything happens, it happened for a reason. A couple of things. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube video, we got about 100 people logged in, 100 new people joined in last month alone. Please just join in flipping for profit.ca. If you want to invest your RSP, TFSA, or do joint ventures, we'll be discussing this in September or October as well, though. So we are going to bring one of my friend, my coach, my mentor, Rory Sheehan. He is the best-selling author, 5 times winner of the Reader's Choice Award. I'd like to have Rory Sheehan. Rory, are you there, my friend?
I am, thanks.
Rory, it's all yours, my friend. If you'd like to share your screen, you're welcome to.
Okay, I will just share my screen.
Thank you.
There we go. Can everybody see that okay?
We can, yes.
Now you guys have disappeared on me.
But we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks, Nav. Thanks for having me back again. I want to share a few ideas. Before I start, I just want to share some really exciting news. We got enough members on our YouTube channel, so we were able to change the name. So I'll put it in the chat later on, but rather than having that long random letter numbered list after the youtube.com, it now says youtube.com/channel/meditative conditioning. So it's going to be easier for people to remember and for people to access us. So that's very exciting. So today what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about following up and closing the deal. We're going to come from the perspective that there's 2 things that we want to follow up in this context. So one, the first step is to get a face-to-face meeting. And the second step is, what do we do at that face-to-face meeting? So we're going to go through both, and I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible. So the thing we want to understand is the person we're dealing with is afraid, their fear is strong, and it's rising. So we want to be very mindful of that, because when people are afraid, they do not make decisions. That's when they say, well, I've got to think about it. I've got to talk to somebody. I need some time to mull this over. I've got to sleep on it. And what they're really saying is, I'm afraid, and I'm afraid to make a decision right now. So we want to keep that in mind as we're working with them in order to convince them to meet with us or to close a deal with us. So let's start by talking about a face-to-face meeting. So what we want to do is understand that people make decisions when they feel comfortable. And that's really where we're going. So what we want to do is we want to do everything we can do in order to get a face-to-face meeting. So what that means is that if we're talking to somebody, if somebody calls us because of an ad or something that we've run, we want to avoid being specific. What we want to do is, if they're going to say, well, how much can I get for this property? They're going to ask some very specific questions, and we want to avoid being specific. What we want to do is we want to get them curious, so that when they are curious, they have to meet us in order to satisfy that curiosity. So our objective really is to focus on getting them curious so that they feel comfortable with us. They see us as a professional so that we can get that face-to-face meeting. If we start getting involved in a conversation where we're asking questions or they're taking over control of the conversation, that's when we have problems. What we want to do is we want to make sure that everything we do is intended to get that face-to-face meeting, because we can't do a deal unless we're face-to-face. So we want to talk about options that are available to them, get them curious so that we can move towards getting a face-to-face meeting, because that's our primary objective, is to get that face-to-face meeting. And if you have questions on this, please feel free to ask your questions, because for some of you, this is going to be a bit of a different approach to getting a deal. So what we want to do is we want to get them curious. And the way we're going to get them curious is we want to identify what's most important to them. The way we identify what's most important to them is we have to ask. So when it comes to dealing with this situation, what's most important to you? And let them tell us, I've got to deal with my kids. I got to make sure my kids are safe. I want to make sure I don't have to go bankrupt. They're going to tell us what's most important to them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to list some possible options that will allow them to deal with what's most important to them, which is really going to be their biggest fear. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tell a story about how we've helped somebody deal with a similar situation. Our intention here is to get them interested enough and curious enough so that they will meet us for a face-to-face meeting, because that's where we're going to do the deal. Now, in the face-to-face meeting, we have to manage the conversation. So we have to make sure that they recognize us as a professional, that they feel comfortable, they're curious, they feel safe, they're confident, and they're willing to make a decision. So let's just go through how we're going to go about doing this. So we want them to recognize us as a professional. The way we're going to do that is we're going to sit with confidence. We're going to have a strong posture. We're going to hold eye contact. We're going to have confidence in our tone, and we're going to be very decisive in the words that we choose. So we're not going to say wishy-washy things like, well, maybe, possibly we could, if everything works out, maybe do this. We want to come across as the true professional because they're relying on us to solve their problem. So once they feel that we're a professional, we want them to feel comfortable with us. And the way we're going to do that is get them talking about positive things. So they're going to talk about, how their kids are doing, or anything, activities they enjoy. It doesn't matter. Anything that puts in a positive state, because if they're feeling positive when they're talking to us, they will feel positive about us. And that comfort will allow them to accept us as the professional that's going to provide a solution to their problem. Again, we really want to work on curiosity. We want to get them talking about what's important to them. We want to get them seeing us as a professional. When we start looking at options, we're going to explain to them how we've used that option that they think is the best for them, how we've used that in the past in order to help other people in similar situations. Now, if you've never done a deal before, or you haven't done a deal the way that they're looking for you to put the deal together, as long as you feel confident about doing that deal, you don't necessarily have to tell a story about when you did something. You can say, a colleague of mine or a partner of mine or a friend of mine. You can still tell the story in that way. The objective is that they can imagine themselves experiencing the same kind of benefit as somebody that you've worked with or a friend of yours that have worked with. And then we got to get them to feel safe. And this is a really important step, because people will not make decisions unless they feel safe. And what we're going to do here is we're going to encourage them whenever they agree with something that we say. So if they say that makes sense, we're going to emphasize that. Oh, I'm so glad you recognize that. It's so much easier now that you understand this. It's so much more manageable to move forward now that you're clear on exactly what we're going to be doing to help you and your family. So what we want to do is we want to really emphasize anything that they agree with what we're saying. And then if we can, what we want to do is we want to get them to basically repeat what we've said in such a way that they're buying in. So if they repeat what we said, or if they paraphrase what we said, then that's a really strong sign that they're with us and they trust us so that they can move forward. Then we want to get them feeling confident about the option that we're presenting. We want to reinforce that feeling of confidence, because once they feel confident in the option that we're presenting, then it makes it easier for them to make a decision. And we want to reinforce that decision. So we want to let them know that as the professional, we believe that the decision they're making is the right decision. We want to reinforce that. So I don't know how many times you've seen somebody, they go and buy something and they don't feel confident about it. So they keep shopping around. You go and buy a car, and then you look in the paper the next week after you bought the car to see if there was any better deals. That's not confidence. We want to deal with people so that we can help them feel confident in the decision they make. So we're going to reinforce it, so we don't have to worry about them getting talked out of the deal that we're doing. And then, of course, once they feel confident in the decision and we've reinforced that decision, then we can close the deal. And the way we're going to close the deal is we're going to reinforce the decision that they just made and agree that the option that they've just selected is the best option. So now we're not selling, we're not aggressively pushing them. We're just acknowledging that the option that they've just picked is the best option for them. And then we're going to let them know that we are happy to do that as long as they feel that would help them out. And when we say, sure, I'm happy to do this and put this deal together for you, if that'll help you out. And then they say yes, and we let them talk, they're going to explain to us exactly how they recognize that option as being the best solution for them. And then they're going to feel really good about closing the deal. So when it comes to following up, we're going to follow up as many times as it takes to get that face-to-face meeting. But once we get that face-to-face meeting, we want to close them. We do not want to follow up. The likelihood of us getting a sale afterwards drops dramatically. So what we want to do is we want to use these techniques to understand they're afraid, to understand that we have to get them over that fear so they feel confident about making a deal with us. And then we reinforce that so that we can get the deal done and get it done right there. So just in the back of your mind, remind yourself that you're going to you're going to follow up as many times as it takes in order to get a face-to-face. And then once you get that face-to-face, your objective is to close the deal. Any questions about any of these ideas that I shared?
Hi, Corey. Rory, can you just repeat all of them just quickly, step by step, because it's like really amazing. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Vladimir. Okay. Now, for some reason, I don't know why on my screen, I cannot see you guys. So if somebody's putting their hand up or anything, I cannot see it. So let's go back here. These are the steps. So you want them to recognize you as a professional. And that means you have to have confidence in what you're saying. Imagine if you go to a doctor and the doctor says, well, I've never really dealt with this before. I'll refer to my books. I'll call a colleague. I'll see if we can deal with this. You have no confidence in them. So you don't want to deal with them. Or even worse, if you go to a lawyer, if you've been, charged with some criminal offense, and you go to a lawyer and the lawyer says, yeah, I seem to remember doing something like this in law school, but it's never come up and I've really never dealt with it. But you know what? I'll give it my best shot. Are you going to keep that person as your lawyer? Of course not. So we want professionals that are going to talk with confidence and present themselves as somebody that we can trust to act in our best interest. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the person we're dealing with recognizes us as a professional. We want to make sure that they're comfortable, and we're going to do that by just getting them talking about positive things, just as idle chit chat, get them curious. So we're going to talk about options. Now, we don't know what option is best for them. We're going to present some options and talk about some options and let them pick the options best. And then we're going to make them feel safe so that they feel safe. Because remember, these people are terrified. They're about to lose everything. And in their mind, the future is so uncertain, they're terrified. So we want to make sure they feel safe. And then we want to get them feeling confident about the decision they're about to make. And then we want to reinforce that decision. And the way we're going to reinforce it is by letting them know that decision that they're making, the option they selected, that's the best option. I'm so glad that that's what you do. That's kind of the one that I was hoping you'd look at because I think it's the best one. I'm so glad that you see that, you truly understand this. You see how this is going to help you out. And I'm happy to move forward with you if you think that'll help you out. And then they're going to perceive you as a professional, because professionals don't come across as aggressive salespeople. Professionals come across as acting in the other person's best interest. And that's how we're going to close the deal. Does that make sense? Does that help a little, Vladimir?
Yes, thank you very much, Rory.
Any other comments or questions about what we talked about today? Okay, if anybody's interested, we have one more Thursday evening seminar this summer before we take a little break until after Labor Day. We're going to be talking about meditation and meditative conditioning. Now, when we talk about meditation, that is mindset. That is where you do all of your personal development work. So if you've got some negative ideas in your subconscious mind, that's going to interfere. If you're afraid of of losing money when it comes to doing a real estate transaction. You're not going to do any transactions until you deal with that fear. You're going to know everything. You're going to study it. You're going to learn all about it, but you're not going to do anything because of that fear. So it all begins with an understanding of meditation and meditative conditioning. We're going to be doing that on August 19th, which is next Thursday. Then the first week back after the Labor Day weekend, we're going to talk about the millionaire mindset. Millionaires and people that are successful, they think differently. So we want to learn how they think so that we can model it. And then we're going to work our way through September with some really interesting topics, getting a better understanding of yourself. How is your programming working? Looking at the money formula for entrepreneurs. So there actually is a formula. There actually is a step-by-step in order for you to create the kind of wealth you want to create. And then we're going to start talking about healing all those insecurities that you have inside. And that's where we're going through the month of September. So I hope you see the value in some of these topics. If you're not on my mailing list, please send me an email and I'm happy to add you. If you're interested in checking out the YouTube channel, we're going to be posting a lot more on the YouTube channel as we move forward. We've got it all set up now so that we're going to be able to market it a little bit more effectively now that we have our own URL. So I'll post the URL in the chat so that you guys can have access to it. It doesn't cost anything to join the YouTube channel, and there's a lot of really interesting information. So thank you very much for having me out again. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat. And if you have the opportunity to join us on Thursday evenings, I'm looking forward to meeting you there. Thanks very much, Nev.
All right. Thanks, Rory. Thank you once again. Appreciate it. We're going to be moving back to our regular slides once Rory is I think I might have to share the screen again. All right. So now we're going to bring our, there's something else I'm going to ask you a question before we go further. Do you think there shall be a wealth tax for Canadians? This is something bouncing back and forth. You might have seen this conversation going on. Wealthy should pay more taxes. And there's a misconception. What's the misconception? Wealthy don't pay taxes. I'd like to share something with you that wealthies do pay more taxes. Here is something I'd like to share with you before we bring our very special guest speaker. Or maybe I should bring the first guest speaker first and share this thing. This is how rich people pay taxes in Canada, by the way, 54%. Compared to people with the rock bottom, they point 2.3%. And this is a misconception across the nation. And they're saying, oh, you're very wealthy. You're 2% or 1% of Canadians, you're top 20%. Yes, wealthy real estate investors pay a lot of taxes. Okay. Now I'd like to bring, before I share this thing with you, I'd like to bring one of the authority, in my opinion, when it comes to taxes, tax planning, and setting up your structure for a company. My very good friend, I wish I met him 10, 20 years ago, but we met about a year ago now. Jerry, are you there, my friend?
I'm here, Nav.
Yes, okay. I'd like you to elaborate on those two things before we go any further. And I'm going to play these things back before. Jerry, it's all yours, my friend. If you can elaborate on these two, please.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. Again, thanks, Nav, for having me on your show, on your webinar. Welcome, everybody. Great topic, wealth tax. Oh, my God. It's very, very interesting topic. We've been talking about that for a long time. 2 years ago or whenever COVID came, it changed everybody's life. We in the tax world, it's very interesting what's happened. It's not probably news to anybody. Our federal debt has just gone through the roof with all this money they've given away and the lack of taxes that they've collected because of the shutdown of all the businesses. So as an accountant, that's a pretty interesting area for us. Again, we're now like 1.3, 1.4 trillion dollars in debt. I mean, that's just mind-boggling. So the whole conversation about increased taxes or wealth tax is very popular, very common. We see it in the news. Before the last Liberal budget, there was a big fear about them taxing our principal residences. I was quite surprised myself that they did not go there. Eventually, they will go there. It's just a matter of time. We see the NDP now basically just coming right out, not sugarcoating it. We are going to tax the wealthy. And that's an interesting position, especially given that they're not really coating it at all. We have to understand too, it's very interesting now, very interesting chart. The wealthy do pay a lot of tax. So you have to be careful of, putting too much of the burden on them because they leave. And the wealthy can afford, high-priced accountants, tax lawyers that can move around their income and save a lot of tax. So, but understand when we tax people, certainly on the personal side, for lack of better words, on the personal side, they tax us on income, not assets. So far. So again, all of us have two things, we have assets and we have income. So they tax us on our income. They've never gone after our assets. They do when we sell them, but that really becomes income. So again, there's the NDP basically saying the wealthy need to pay anybody. They basically stated they're going after anybody with more than $10 million of assets. And I kind of laugh because when the leaders on TV, they're talking about the billionaires. Okay, well, yes, go tax the billionaires. $10 million does not make you a billionaire. So on one hand, they're after the billionaires, but on the other hand, they brought it down now. They've stated that anybody over $10 million of assets will start to pay an asset tax of 1%. Okay. Very interesting. Just my own opinion. I think that number should be increased. I'm actually somebody that's not as opposed. I'm certainly not left wing, probably more right wing, but I think the time has come that we, do look at these extremely wealthy, not $10 million, well over that. I also think they need to go after the corporations. Okay. If they're going to go after and tax the asset base of the rich people, hopefully they do that while leaving the small person alone. Okay, one of the problems with all these governments is not only they want to tax the rich, they want to jack up the tax for just the normal person. Okay, I always think the normal person should pay a little less. We should have a higher basic tax exemption. I'm somebody, I have a mother, a 95-year-old mother. I do her tax return. She has Canada pension, old age security, a little bit of RSP income, RIF income. She has no real money. And she has to pay $1,000 of tax every year that she doesn't have. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So, to raise all the basic levels, take less from the little people and take more from the big people, and also go after these corporations, because again, the people will move. Okay, so that's an important component. Corporations physically can't move. For example, Walmart has made a fortune, an absolute fortune. They lock all these little businesses down for the last couple of years. So now everybody has to go to Walmart and buy everything, and they are making a fortune. Amazon is making a fortune because now people are just getting used to online, ordering stuff online. Rogers and Bell, all the internet providers have been making a fortune simply because we live much more in a technology world now than ever. We're all Zooming, we're all doing all this stuff. So go after those companies that are making a fortune off us, tax them more, leave us little people alone to a certain degree. So that's, where does the money come from? The wealth tax is coming. Again, I don't like the $10 million number. It sounds high, and it is high, But you know what? You have a couple of deals, you have a bunch of real estate going on, you have a corporation. Next thing you know, you might on paper have $10 million assets. You certainly don't have it in your bank. So to increase that number a little bit, I think, I think in principle, I'm okay. They're going to go after the wealthy. But they got to be careful because wealthy people can move. And that's why you might have noticed they've been convening in Europe. They want all the, they want all the countries to get together on the corporate tax rate. They want a standard 15% corporate tax rate. So these corporations don't bounce around to the lower tax country. And I think that's a great idea. And I mean, and that's what, went back to what I said about the NDP. I mean, we're going to tax the wealth, and then we're also going to increase the corporate tax rate to 18%. I mean, right now it's 12%. Like, leave that alone. Leave it at 12. If all the countries agree, okay, let's go up to 15. If that's standard around the Western world and all these higher end economic countries, then that's fine. Leave it at 15%. But anyway, it's very, 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 very interesting times when we deal with this debt. 1.3 trillion, 1.4 trillion. I've yet to hear how the government really is going to deal with this. They've left us out in the cold, especially those of us that understand the impact of all this. 1.3 trillion is a fortune. They'll never pay this off. Okay, so now how do they deal with it? They just can't tax everybody to deal with $1.3 trillion of debt. So the one thing that is a given is one way to deal with higher debt, significantly higher debt, is to create economic activity. Okay, and how do you create economic activity? Well, you open your borders. Okay, they've been doing it for 10, 20 years. And we've seen the effect. Okay, lots of immigration. Our economy has been booming prior to COVID. Okay, we've had a very good economic growth. Immigration has fueled a lot of that. They need more of it. Okay, they need more immigration to now deal with this debt that they never realized they would have before COVID. Okay, they need gross domestic product. When we talk about our federal debt, they always defend it by going, well, our interest on our federal debt on a percentage of gross domestic product is okay. So if you increase your gross domestic product, then the interest you're paying on this crazy debt we have all of a sudden becomes okay because it's better than everybody else around the world. GDP, gross domestic product, is really the sum of everything that is produced and consumed in our country. There are countries that have interest on their debt that exceeds 100% of their GDP. I don't know how they would ever manage that. Our interest now is about 50%, half of the GDP. That's very high and very concerning and very high. So they have to continue with immigration. Okay, I think they've said 1.2 million people coming in the next three years. So that's 400,000 a year, which is a little higher than they've averaged. And the average in the past, 250, 300,000 a year into Canada. So they're going to boost up the immigration levels. They say by 2050, 2050, we'll be at an extra 10 million Canadians, new Canadians. Okay, that number is staggering. That's big. Okay, what does it mean to us as real estate investors? It's great. It's all good. All these people are going to come to Canada. They need houses. Some can afford to buy, others cannot. Okay, the ones that cannot afford to buy, they're going to be renting. Okay, so we're all in the real estate business. We're really in the real estate business to either flip, buy a house, get rid of it quick, make some profit, or we're trying to build up a sustainable rental income structure. And both the flipping and the building a sustainable rental income model is going to be well supported with what is going to happen with this continued influx of immigration. There's also the possibility, we've heard it, of basic income. Okay, I think that's coming, and that will also enhance, maybe not the fix and flip, but certainly the sustainable rental income model. Okay, as soon as there's universal income I think you're going to see a bump in all these lower rents or low to mid rents. I think it's going to be the norm that, $1,500, $2,000 is going to be your norm for a 1-bedroom apartment. As real estate investors, either we're buying multi-unit rental units or we're putting secondary suites in our homes. That's just going to help so much. I mean, even now, rooms are renting out at $700, $800, $900. So anybody that's got an apartment in their house or something, you're getting an extra $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500. It's kind of interesting when people say, well, where the heck does all this money come from? $1.3 trillion. Where does that come from? Well, it's pretty simple. They got these neat little computer programs. It's called fiat money, and you just hit a few computer keys and there's your money. Okay, so what they do, how they do it is they create bonds. They just literally create bonds. They issue them through the Bank of Canada, and then the Bank of Canada auctions them off. Okay, so these bonds are auctioned off, and they're bought. And who buys these bonds? Well, two main buyers. Institutional investors buy these bonds for, one, to fund all these pension plans that are all over the world. Okay, so 1 out of 3 people have the luxury of working for the government, public, they're public servants, and then they're blessed with these fantastic pensions. That's where a lot of this, not only Canadian debt, but debt all over the world. Look at the US, they're just printing money like crazy. Where does that money go? It goes to fund a lot of these pensions. They use these institutional investment companies, they use that money to refund infrastructure. They buy real estate with it. Okay, so they're borrowing the money, that they're buying the bonds from the Bank of Canada at low rates and using it, just like we do. We go look for the money and try to make a profit on it. Institutional investors are doing the same thing, just on a humongous scale, and they're making a fortune doing it. When they auction off the bonds, it also creates a bond rate. Okay, and that bond rate is used to determine residential and commercial rates. So the price of mortgages is a really direct effect of what's going on in that bond rate. And just my opinion, I certainly don't have the magic. I'm not the future. I can't tell the future, but I do think interest rates have nowhere to go but stay low. Okay, even when they go up a 1/4 point. There's no impact to anything that we're doing. The interest rates will remain low. It will continue to fuel real estate. Yes, the prices certainly have gone up. That's going to impact what all of us do in the real estate market. But the fundamentals, I mean, when you're investing in real estate, we invest in fundamentals, invest where people are going to go, invest. All the fundamentals are there as far as the costing that we need for this property, the fact that people need place to live. As Nav said, people need places to live. So, it's all there. It's good. So who's going to pay the more taxes? Okay, who's going to fund all this stuff? Well, it makes sense to try to better educate yourself about the tax system. Like, I'm not out. I don't suggest everybody becomes accountants. But it's, with a little bit of education, NAV provides it, you get a better understanding of the tax system. And I think it's really important, to better understand the tax system. I always say, a real estate investor really is only as good as their real estate education. I mean, you need to network, you need to belong to a group, just like NAV's group. You become better educated and you become a better real estate investor. Similarly with the tax, the more you know about the tax, the more you can kind of have a better understanding of what you're paying. It's not that the way I look at people, I look at a person, you have 4 tax brackets, 20%, 30%, 40%, and 50%. 20% is $0 to $50,000, the 30% bracket, 50 to 100. 40 is 100 to 150, and the 50% bracket is 150 above. Understand that, write it down, understand that. Now that's the tax on your personal tax return. That would be income minus expenses equals your net income, and that goes on your tax return. Remember, income minus expenses. Expenses, there's a lot that we can deduct. Okay, you need a creative accountant. Okay, with all due respect to a lot of my colleagues, too many accountants are just not creative enough or not really aggressive enough within the law. Okay, and I mean that within the law. The Income Tax Act, half of it is black and white and half of it is written in gray. There's a lot of items that are interpretive that we can be creative with to reduce that net income that's going to hit your personal tax return at either 20, 30, 40, or 50%. Also understand corporations. Corporations pay tax at 12%, 12.2% for the first $500,000 of income. That's fantastic. Okay, and there's ways that we can use it. We're all real estate investors. Yes, rental income is passive income. It's taxed at the higher rate. But hey, you can set up a real estate management corp to manage your rental income. So we switch the characteristic of the rent income, which would normally be taxed at the high rate in a corporation. Now we can use a real estate management company to bring that corporate tax rate down to 12.2. Also part of your education of the, just better understanding tax. There's different types of income. Okay, when we invest, we can get interest. That's 100% taxable. We can get dividends. That's really 75% taxable. If we earn $100 of dividends, we put $75 of dividends on a tax return through your tax rates, 20, 30, 40, 50%. Capital gains, okay, we love capital gains. Half of the tax on a capital gain is free, completely free. Okay, that might change soon, but right now it's half free. So we're only taking half of our capital gain and putting it on our tax return subject to our different tax rates, 20, 30, 40, or 50%. Return of capital, if you don't know what that is, Google it, figure it out. Return of capital, you pay zero income tax on the return of capital. So there's lots of education for you to learn there. So, but anyway, to sum up real quick, yes, I believe there will be a wealth tax coming. Be ready for it. If you're just, somebody under $10 million of assets, I don't think you have a whole lot to worry about. If you're one of the biggies over 10 million, you probably got some stuff to worry about. So anyway, I'll stop there now. Thank you very much again for including me in your session today. Thanks everybody for joining us, and I hope everybody has a great Saturday.
Thank you, Jerry. Once again, if you want to reach Jerry, please subscribe to his newsletter called CanadianInvestmentServices.ca. He also has some sessions, by the way. You can reach him directly at 416-979-7426. It's very important to meet somebody with the same capabilities and happen to be an accountant and also a real estate investor. So if you're looking into whether it's your tax return or you plan something, make sure you consult him. We strongly recommend that you speak to him directly yourself. Thank you. All right, we're gonna move forward. Ask me anything. Power questions. We're gonna bring a special guest right now. And the special guest is, again, a very special friend. I call him a brother. David Grossman, are you there, sir?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
How you doing, Navtash? Good to be
Excellent,
here.
my friend.
Good.
It's all yours.
Okay, so people can ask, so the topic was ask me anything you want. So you can ask me anything you want as long as I know the answer. I'll be happy to answer it.
Excellent. Are you on the cell phone or are you on the computer? Are you able to see the chat?
I can see the chat barely. Yeah, I can see the chat, but I got kicked off before.
Okay.
So, okay, I see Dave's comment. Yeah, so people can ask there too.
All right.
Should be able to read it.
So please go ahead. If anybody have any question about mortgages, let me start with the question. What's the best variable rate for refinancing or three different scenarios? Number one scenario, refinancing. Second is 20% down. Third one with only 5% down with high ratio mortgages. What's the best 5-year variable rates are available?
Okay, so the first thing I should say is, Navtash, I don't really, I mean, listen, you and I have been friends long enough. I can be candid here. So I don't sell on rate. Okay, rates
Thank you.
we have insured mortgage variable rate. Insured is when you have less than 20% down. We still have money available at 0.99%. Okay, but people come and we have good rates for sure. We have insured or not, but people come to me, usually it's to solve some kind of a problem. We have lately I've connected with an A lender, a prime lender, because people not only want solutions to problems, but of course they want them at the best available rates. So I've recently connected with another bank. I mean, I've done business with TD a lot in the past and many other prime lenders, but I've recently connected with another lender through somebody who does incredibly high volume. And because of the relationship, we're getting amazing underwriting. So people are coming to me for rental properties where they're not being approved by their by their bank, because either they have too many rentals or they don't have enough income or whatever. And we're able to help some of these people now. So, and we're doing fully underwritten pre-approvals, which is also awesome. Now for rentals, it's a little bit more expensive. There's a 0.5% premium, 2% instead of 1.5%. Okay. Yes, we can do less than 1.5%, but again, people come to me usually to solve some kind of a problem. They want to buy more properties. They want to do a fix and flip. Maybe they're self-employed. They're not reporting much income. I'm just going to see Jerry made a note. Maybe follow up on my chat about how mortgage rates are established. Sure, I'd be happy to comment on that. But before I do, Navtaj, does that sufficiently address your question regarding rates?
Yeah, you actually hit you hit right on the dot, because my question was, there are a few investors here today who have multiple properties, have been declined for whatever reasons are, because the people they're dealing with did not have a good relationship with the lenders, or they don't do enough volume. For example, I got a gentleman here on the line, won't say the name, and they own 6 properties, other one own 8 properties, the one own 10 or 12, and they like to have a possibly financing from a institution, which is a lender. And you might have the perfect solution for them, though.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I appreciate that. So it's about solving problems, and when you're buying, especially if you're buying, you're fixing, flipping, making money. I mean, I had somebody come to me recently who bought a property that they were going to sever, and they were expecting to make pretty big bucks on this. They were buying a property for slightly more than $1 million. Had a house on it. The lot was large enough so that they could sever it, and they were anticipating $1 million profit. And they were self-employed, and it was not doable at a bank. But do you think they minded paying an extra percentage point on on a loan of $800,000? An extra point is $8,000 a year if you're going to be making $1 million in profit through a severance. That was what they were expecting to make on this. I'll comment on Jerry's thing, how mortgage rates are established. First of all, there's fixed rates and there's variable rates. So both are established in different ways. Variable rates are established by the Bank of Canada. Basically, the Bank of Canada meets, I think it's 8 times a year, and they set what they call the overnight rate. The overnight rate is currently at 25 basis points. And from that rate, the banks set their prime rate. So it's from that where your variable rate mortgage is determined. Now, what drives the Bank of Canada to increase rates or lower rates? Well, when COVID hit, they wanted to do things to stimulate the economy. So they pushed rates down in order to stimulate the economy. Now, sometimes it's not just that simple, though, because when there's a lot of inflation happening, there's pressure on the banks to increase rates to slow down the economy. So that's the kind of scenario we have right now, or we're very close to it, where there's some inflationary pressures, The banks are saying, or sorry, the Bank of Canada or the government is saying that inflationary pressure is not so great that they need to increase rates right now. They believe they can keep the rates down until the second half of next year, 2022. That's when we're anticipating increases. But we've all seen around us, we see prices going up for houses, raw materials, wood, everything. Prices are going up. So at some point, there could be a lot of inflationary pressure, and the Bank of Canada will have no choice but to increase rates. How fast and how high? It's anybody's guess. That's variable rates. Fixed rates are driven by movement in the bond markets, as Jerry was alluding to. And basically it has to do with investor confidence. So when investors are feeling confident in the economy, they're selling their bonds, they're buying into the stock market. And when they sell bonds, it pushes bond prices down, and the yields on the bonds go up, and fixed mortgage rates also go up. So that's the story with fixed and variable mortgage rates. Ian says, why should an investor in real estate ever use private mortgages to invest non-institutional money? That's a really good question. So I would say that normally private money is transitional money. It's usually short-term money. So if you're buying a property and you think you can fix it and then either flip it, or once it's fixed, because sometimes you buy a property, if it's in a state of disrepair, you may not be able to get institutional money. But if you go in there and you do some renos and you clean it up, and then you can get some good tenants in there, at that point you might be able to get institutional money and pay out the private loan. So private money is usually transitional money, hard to sustain over the long term, unless you have a property that is generating very big income. I spoke with somebody not that long ago. For example, they had one of these short-term rental properties, which was generating big revenue, and they had some private financing on there, which they were able to sustain because of the amount of cash flow. But typically private money is short-term. David Purchase says, what's my opinion on the Smith maneuver? Do I ever recommend it to clients? So that's a very good question. And I'll tell you, to be very honest with you, I mean, I think Jerry's probably a better person. He might remember the Smith maneuver, but the idea being, I think, is that you're paying off your mortgage, and then as you pay it down, you're immediately re-advancing on it, because you have one of these mortgages where you have a line of credit combined with the regular mortgage. You re-advance and you're using that to invest, and then the interest cost on that money is tax deductible. I don't know if there's any issues from a tax standpoint, if CRA would have any concerns about that. But to be entirely honest with you, it's not something that I'm dealing with very often. I did study up on it a number of years ago. I just don't get a lot of requests for it. It may be a legitimate strategy. I won't say it's not, but just not something I'm dealing with every year. Then we have Bertha. Asks me to contact her. Okay, Bertha, I just made a note of your phone number. I will give you a call later. Thank you. Jerry says, for the benefit of others, maybe chat about the difference between CMHC borrowing versus institutional borrowing. Why use CMHC? Why use institutional? Okay, so first of all, thanks, Jerry. That's a good question. Thanks for that. And also thanks, David and Ian, for your questions. So an institutional mortgage can be insured or not insured. And when you're buying a residential property, under $1 million purchase price. If your down payment is less than 20% down, it must be insured. It must be insured if it has less than 20% down. That's just the way it works. And you end up paying an insurance premium on that, which doesn't do an awful lot for you as a buyer, other than the fact that you can buy property with less than 20% down. But that insurance premium is usually capitalized on the mortgage. It's added to the mortgage, so it's not part of your closing costs. What it does is it essentially allows you to buy properties, owner occupied, first or second. You can buy up to two, as long as they're considered owner occupied. So the second one could be for a family member. But then if it's owner occupied, remember that you cannot use rental income to help you qualify or offset that mortgage. So as long as you have sufficient provable income yourself, you can buy one or two owner-occupied properties with a smaller down payment. As little as 5% down, it's 5% on the first $500,000. And then on that amount between $500,000 and $999,999, because as soon as it hits $1 million, it's not insurable. You have to have 20% down.
Are you there, David? It seems like David is got disconnected. David, are you still on the line? I believe David might, the call might have dropped, by the way. Those who do not know David, please give me a call directly at 416-876-2031 or rockyourmortgages.com. That is his number. I believe David is back again. His call dropped. David. David, are you there? Are you back? David, are you back?
I'm back.
Back.
Hi, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Oh, I think the internet dropped or something. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. So we were talking about the insurance premiums. You also get a slightly lower mortgage rate if it's insured, because there's little or no risk really for the lender, because that insurance really helps the lender because it means they're insured against any losses by the insurer, whether it's CMHC or Sagan or one of the Central Guarantee, one of the insurers. Now, there's also multi-residential. When you have 5 units and above, those purchases can also be insured. So if you're buying an apartment building with at least 5 units, it can be insured, and that gives you a lower rate. And it also allows you to get into some areas that the lenders may not be interested in, because again, like geographically, small town, something like that, because remember, it essentially eliminates, it definitely reduces, possibly eliminates all risk for the lender, because if it insures them against any loss. So, and it's similar with multi-residential too. Typically allows you to buy with smaller down payment, lower rates, but there is a fairly hefty insurance premium. Although that insurance premium is good for the life of the loan, even if you have that mortgage for more than 5 years, or you take that mortgage. And this is true for residential too. If you switch that mortgage after the term matures to another institution, the insurance goes with you. Lower rates, and you can top up as well. But on the multi-residential side, there's within the last year, there's some new restrictions on the multi-residential side in terms of taking out equity. If you refinance and then take out equity, they don't want you to be taking that money and giving it back to the shareholders. They want you to use that to either buy more or renovate. It's supposed to be invested in more multi-unit, minimum 2 units. It's got to be reinvested. So kind of changes the face of things for some investors. I don't know if there were any other questions. I may have lost the chat because I just came back in, as you know. So
All right, that's
Is there any
fine.
other
Thank you,
questions?
David. Appreciate it, my friend. Our next meeting will be September 11th. And Ross gonna be back. By the way, check him out, 416-876-2031. Rockyourmortgage.ca is the website.
yeah, speak. Thanks a lot, Navtaj, my brother from another mother. If anybody's in the Barrie area tonight, I'm playing some music on the patio at Town and Country Steakhouse in Barrie. Stop by 6 to 9 p.m. We hopefully rocking the guitar tonight, and then rocking the mortgage again tomorrow. Give me a call. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, David.
Have a nice day. Thanks.
Very kind of you to send an invitation. David also love to play music, by the way. We're gonna keep moving forward. Let me introduce this guy. Does anybody can recognize this guy, who these guys are? Anybody is able to recognize? What does it take to prepare for your life? Does that look familiar at all? So this is the big announcement for one of our special friend and our apprentice, as well as somebody you would like to connect with. The guy who's fully prepared for it. Take a long time to prepare for life, isn't it? This guy is into, you can tell, he know how to be fair as a referee. He know how to defend. And he is also prepared. Preparation with his what? His father alone. Let me bring it in. David Purchase, are you there, my friend? David Purchase.
Yes, hi, Nantash. Thank you very much.
Oh, we took our time to find all about him, what he is up to. Maybe he can give us a little elaboration. He's a realtor, he's a mortgage broker, he's an investor, and he's want to be your best friend and connection when it comes to Ottawa real estate or mortgages. David, you don't mind just going through the picture before we really elaborate a little bit about what you have been doing here?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Jeez, where did you find those?
Yes.
That's funny. You have your sources, I guess.
All right. So just share with us, how old were you? What were you doing here? Just out of curiosity.
For sure. So, let's see. So yeah, thanks for having me, Navtash, first of all. And for those that have not met me yet, my name's David Purchase here in Ottawa. Let's talk about these photos here. So first one, I joined the infantry at 16 years old. Second one there, top right, that was a little bit younger, maybe around 12, 13 years old. I'm not sure. And referee about 14 years old.
Excellent. So you represent the true Canadian values, correct?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Now let's talk about yourself here, my friend.
For sure. So yeah, once again, my name's David Purchase. I'm a realtor with eXp Realty here in Ottawa. Mortgage broker with Loan Desk. And as you saw there, I joined the infantry at 16 years old. It was a great experience, but I knew that it wasn't for me long term. And then after that, I sold cars with General Motors, Chevrolet, GMC, all that. But once again, it wasn't really for me. Shortly after that, though, I first attended Navtaj's apprenticeship course 2 years ago to the day, actually. So that's pretty funny.
Excellent.
And that's where I found out that real estate is really the industry that I need to be in. What solidified this this realization and proved it was, I'll tell you a little story here. So back in the day, I knew very little about real estate and investing. But after the course, I came across this lead for a tax sale. I have forbidden about
David, I
housing
believe your
market,
connection
little
is,
about the city.
David, your connection is not very stable. Can you please repeat one more time, please?
Is it any better?
Okay, if you can repeat again one more time, please. It was disrupted, or it was not coming clearly. It was a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, basically I joined. That's where I found that real estate was really my calling.
Cambridge.
What solidified this was, so I'll tell you a story. So I knew a little about real estate and investing, but I came across a lead in North Bay for a tax sale, and this was just shortly after the course. I'm not going to go over like every single detail of the transaction there, but I applied one of the strategies that we learned in the course, and I was able to buy this property in North Bay before the tax sale went through. It was sight unseen, and I was able to flip it in a month with a roughly 30K profit. So that to me was amazing. It was a complete eye opener. I made like a 600% return on what I paid for the course. And we even helped the owners walk away from the property, have some extra cash and all that stuff. All this to say is, I really enjoy being able to work with people, whether it's as a mortgage broker, as a realtor, and just offering, this advice, this knowledge that you can only learn from these courses or being part of a group like this, with people like Navtaj, David Grossman, Gary Hogenhout, Rory Sheehan. It's really something special. It completely changed my mindset and, how I see pretty much everything. It was good. And that's about all I have for today.
All right. Well, make sure you contact David Purchase, 613-867-7581. And John, are you there, John Purchase? Are you there, sir? It's funny that how the whole thing takes place. David called me out of somewhere, had a little conversation about real estate. I believe he was responding to one of our ad. And the next thing I know it that he was here in Toronto with his father, John Purchase. And we just have a little conversation, and this is it. We find the right energy, and the rest is a history to be told now in the future. John, would you like to add up something on this, my friend?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I could go on and on for hours and hours, but for several years, I worked as a real estate appraiser for a private company here in Ottawa, as well as Canada Mortgage and Housing in Saskatchewan, and there's a little town just west of Ottawa called Toronto. So that was my area as well. And after taking the course with David a few times, it's like looking at the world from a completely different perspective. So, and it's also, great as a father to see how ignited David is in pursuing this. So, I can go on and on, but anyways, appreciate it.
All right, sir, I'm glad. Here's the deal I have with David. I wanted to become a multimillionaire, the youngest multimillionaire among his friends and family.
Yep.
And he's on, and we are keeping a little bit tap on it. A lot of accountability. He's up for it. And let's see. And he's going to be here every meeting, introducing giving us certain tips and trips and what's happening in the Ottawa area. And actually, he's licensed across Ontario. So slowly but surely, you will be sharing a lot more information about the rest of Ontario as well as Ottawa, whether it comes to mortgages, whether he's doing some deals, whether tax sales, shelf sale, flips, rentals, property management, a lot more. But wait and see. And it'll be a good person to have and see it's, in my opinion, it's a good inspiration for young people. David, how old were you when you started this thing, sir?
I was 19.
And now I don't want to ask your age, but if you want to tell us, you can tell us your age.
Yes, now I'm 22.
All right.
Yeah.
So 2 years time, the gentleman have changed his life, a lot of financial stability, a lot more to look forward. And again, he's going to disclose as we go along. It'll be more exciting. Thank you, David. Appreciate it, my friend, you being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Navtaj. Appreciate it.
So now we're going to talk about Toronto real estate market. I have a special guest. I hope he's on the line. Lester Singh, are you there, sir? Lester Singh, are you there? All right, Lester may or may not be here. He's quite a busy guy. Usually he shows some stuff with us. This is something I like to share quickly with all of you. We are going to make it short and sweet. I know it's a beautiful day. August is not everybody like to be in, but I'm glad you guys are in. Let's see what's happening with the sales right now as we speak. Sales are down compared to last year. This is the sales of July 2021 of Toronto only. Listings are down by 30% or 31%. Active listings are down by 36%. And average price is up by 12.6%. Average days in the market is taking a lot less to sell. And average day to sell the market property is less and less. Even though inventory is lower, the sales are down, but the prices are up, by the way. Prices are holding steady. Just to let you know, in Toronto, compared to last year, this year, our sales were down, definitely from 11,000 to 9,400. The prices are definitely up. From last year, it was 943,000 compared to 1,062,000 or $63,000. Just to let you know, and this is what is happening in July. If you look at the figures here, these are the figures you can obtain from the Toronto Real Estate Market Watch, or you can talk to your favorite realtor. They'll be more than happy to share information with you. So these were the sales from 2020. If you notice that, what happened, and now what happened in 2021, these are the current sales right now. The market was extremely hard in the month of March. And usually what we have in May, we had in March, and now the sales are not down, but comparatively to last 2 years, yes, they are, but the prices are very substantially strong though. In case you want to view it, what happened from since 1975, where the average prices were from 57th average house price to about $1 million plus. This is what the real estate does for you, build a lot of generational wealth for you. All right, moving forward, if you have a mentor, I hope you do have it. I hope you have a coach, can give you a very important something which coach can do, and look after your blind spot, pinpoint things you do not know, accountability and confidence, and second guess. With a coach, you can move ahead very quickly, very fast. Does it pay off to have a coach? 100%. It elevates your game, improve your skills in your life. Definitely, yes. Everyone have a coach and a mentor. And in case you're looking for one, please give us a call and see if you are eligible to be qualified as a person which shall be coached, by the way. A coach can change a game. A great coach can change you to have successful life. It's not only one thing. Coach make a difference about everything what you do in your life, by the way. So please don't do it. In case you're looking for a coach, give us a call and we'll be more than happy to look after you. So what you should know this, something most of the people may or may not be aware of it. It's just a reminder that you are eligible to get a $5,600 grant. Going green, again, this program is going to be around for a while though. strictly for homeowners only. You must be homeowner and go through energy audit program. And in Edmonton and Toronto, they have two different programs on top of it. I'm not sure if you are able to take both of them or one of them. Please look into it. And the program is called Property Assessed Clean Energy, pays for short. Please look into these programs, and $500, $600, a lot of money. People need some new windows, new heat, furnace or air conditioning, or something along the line, and make sure energy audit is done for you. Population growth, we will skip this one for the time being. Looking at luxury tax 2022. This is coming up, by the way, if you are aware of it or not. We talk about wealth tax. This is going to be something new if you are buying anything over $100,000, especially anything which they call luxury, and there will be a 10% fee on the total cost of the vehicle, 20% fee on amount exceeding about 100,000. Be aware of it. In case you are planning to do something, do it before January 1st, 2022. Is Canadian steel market slowing down? Yes or no? This is something else we are going to determine pretty soon. Elections are coming on hopefully by September 20th. I believe there are going to be some certain changes, and they may introduce some new rules and regulations. It may maybe make it a bit harder for us to qualify, or even discourage speculators to come into market, because we definitely have a situation where housing is going to become a hottest agenda in the elections, by the way. Fear of inflation, that's something we talk about it. Lumber prices have come down slightly, not that much. We have definitely problems with supplies. Anywhere you want to buy, especially lumber or any materials in Canada or anywhere in US, including US, there are some issues. And the prices of materials have gone substantially higher though. Blue Monday is always the best day to buy the real estate, by the way. In case you ever want to buy real estate, you feel like, okay, strong recommendation, Monday, best way to negotiate, by the way. Somehow it's a psyche behind it. Weekend is over and they feel they hit the real life. Monday is the day full of your, that's why I call Moon Day, emotions and so on though. Most of the people are a bit down on Mondays. Interest rate, we discuss it. We're gonna skip a couple of these, but we actually wanna get down to more or less at the next thing. If you are wholesaling, learning, this is gonna be on August 25th, by the way. A membership, if you're not a member, please make sure you become a member. If you are planning on coaching, this is the number for coaching, just give us a call. We have few deals we will be not discussing today, but we will maybe definitely discuss it next time. Who wants to go to Hawaii? I'll pay for it. Just all you have to do is refer me a deal. Or if you want to get $5,000 referral fees or bird dog fees, we are happy to pay a bird dog fee. $1,000 cash reward, again, same thing if you or refer somebody else. We are going to get into something very nice right now. Next meeting will be September 11th, by the way. And from here, now we're going to go to something very interesting. This is what we are all going to go into a room where we all able to chit chat. It'll be networking time right now for next 20 minutes. Make sure everybody gets everybody got opportunity to speak to each other, and feel free to talk about yourself and see what you can do for other people. Make sure nobody dominates the room. Everybody got opportunity to speak. So until I see you next time, I'm going to be seeing you in the break rooms shortly. It's going to take 60 or a minute. Then you will find please turn your cameras on. You'll be able to speak to other people at the same time. Bear with me for 1 minute, please. Thank you.